bring to you a young man who I think you will find to be a very dynamic leader, a very visionary leader, and a person who cares about people, and a person who will create a new day in Henry County. Mr. James C. Mack.
I would just say good morning.
Good morning.
I want to thank Reverend Lee again for having us out, and also the other people that he mentioned, Reverend Stahl and Reverend Smith, and then our good friend John Dewberry, who I know. And those of you who I don't know, I'm hoping that I'll get an opportunity to at some point to get to know you. I know this sounds extreme, but I want to use this term quite a bit, and that is that we believe that we're about to make history in Henry County. And a lot of people think I'm exaggerating when I say that, but when I use the word history, I think about the history that we've gone through as black people, particularly those of us who were involved in the civil rights movement in Atlanta during the 1960s when Dr. King was there. We saw what is possible for us to do. And those of us who saw what happened 4 years ago when we elected Barack Obama, the first black president of the United States. I mean, that's an astonishing kind of accomplishment and something that I had never thought would happen in my lifetime. And so when I use that term and I look at the accomplishments of both Dr. King and what Barack Obama did, I think it's possible for us to make history in Henry County. And you'll say, what does he mean by that? And what I mean by that is that if you look at what has happened in Henry County in the last 20 years, you'll find out that if you go back 20 years ago to 1990, there were only 59,000 people in all of Henry County. And today we have over 200,000 people in Henry County. So in that short period of time, we went from under 60,000 to over 200,000. To me, that's an astonishing accomplishment for us to be able to do that in this county, one of the fastest growing counties in the United States. And so we think that if we get one more person on the Henry County Commission, by the way, those of you who don't know, there are 5 members of the commission, just 5 people, 1 Democrat and 4 Republicans, 1 black Democrat, 4 Republicans. So if we get one other guy onto the commission, we have 40% of the commission. That's historical. We've never had that in Henry County. And so that's when I use the word historical. Don't think I'm exaggerating. It's possible. Because we have 3 people right now running for commission seats in the Democratic Party. In fact, our chairman says that there's only 2 counties in all the state of Georgia. Out of the 159 counties, there are only 2 that have a full slate of Democrats that are running this time. One of them is Henry County. The other one is Augusta, Georgia. I think it's Richland County over there. But there are only 2 counties in the entire state that have a full slate. We have a full slate of Democratic candidates running for the county commission this time. We want to get it there because we believe that we can make the county better than it is.
Amen.
You see what I'm saying? We believe that we can be better. I believe that the guy that is in the seat that I'm seeking doesn't have the skills that I have. And I don't want to sound arrogant, but I believe I'm prepared. I have a degree in business from Clark Atlanta University. I have a law degree from the University of Iowa. I was a trial attorney with the United States government. I'm both a Navy and an Air Force veteran. I was a college professor. I spent 30 years as a corporate attorney, and now I'm with the Henry County Juvenile Court as a juvenile court attorney. I don't just come up here and say that I just want to remove this man. I want to remove him because I believe that I can do a better job than he's doing. I believe I can do better. We only have 4 platforms in our 4 planks in our platform. Number 1, we're talking about fiscal responsibility. Fiscal responsibility. Now, what do I mean about that? I mean that Henry County, for the first time, has a $10 million deficit. They overspent about $10 million, this group of people that's there now. Why? They bought golf courses, they bought airports, they bought rifle ranges, they just bought a whole lot of stuff that a lot of people are questioning about. Why did you buy that at a time when the value of houses is dropping and our tax base is dropping? How did you go out and spend all this money? The new budget that they're proposing for next year also will have a $10 million deficit. In other words, they're not going to fix that by next year. They're talking about we're going to have to raise our taxes to fix that. That's the only way they can see. They're laying off our policemen. They're laying off other people. Furloughs, they call them. These people are making less money than they made 5 years ago. They have not had, in the county, they have not had a pay increase in 5 years because of the mistakes and the decisions that the current administration has made. I call that fiscal irresponsibility. They've made some bad mistakes. That's number 1. Number 2 is that we have a transportation problem in Henry County. Everywhere you go now, particularly where I live down 155, it's backed up. You can barely get up and down 155 on the other side of I-75 now. And they're building a 1 million square foot facility.
Yeah.
10 people, but I've heard 1 million. You know who you talk to. It's a huge facility on that side of I-75 on 155. Home Depot has put that in. 2-lane road, both directions. They've got to do something. They've got to widen those roads. They've got to figure out other ways to get those trucks in and out of there. They're projecting at least another 150 trucks a day coming into that facility. It's going to be amazing. And so one of my projects is that we've got to do something about transportation. I am the only person, if you heard the other commissioners talk, who is in favor of T-Slots. If you are not in favor of it, I don't mean to hurt your feelings, I'm in favor of that. That's going to raise somewhere between $6, $7, $8 billion over the next 10 years. Many of those projects are projected to come into Henry County. We're going to get a lot of that money, and then we keep 15% of everything else that is raised so we can do the transportation projects that they don't cover. I'm in favor of that. All those guys on the other side who are not in favor of that, they're not in favor of it, I believe, for the same reasons that they're always not in favor of improving our roads. That is that they don't want the wrong people to come into Henry County. That's always their excuse when they talk behind closed doors. I'm in favor of it. I hope you'll vote for it on July 31st when that election comes up. Vote for T-SPLOST. That's going to bring some money and some jobs and increase our tax base and help us out in this county. That's number 2, transportation. Number 3, I just believe that we need to do something with economic development in this county. We have got to find ways to attract other companies to come into Henry County. We've got to do that. Why? Because as our houses drop in value, our tax base drops. That creates this problem with that $10 million deficit. That adds to that. So the way that I believe that you can get away with that problem and improve it is that then you can bring big companies in, like Home Depot and these other companies that are building these big facilities in our area. But not only do we want these warehouse facilities being built here, we want high-tech jobs brought into the county. We want jobs in the computer area. We want jobs in automobile manufacturing. We want those kind of jobs that are going to come in with that big money so that we can improve our tax base in this county. So I'm in favor of looking for ways, maybe it's tax incentives that we can offer these companies to attract them to come here. Maybe it's by improving our educational system so that they realize that we have people who are trained and capable of doing these jobs. Whatever it is, I want to attract big companies to Henry County, and I will do whatever it takes to do that. In fact, I saw recently where the mayor of Atlanta traveled to China looking for jobs. I see where the executive in DeKalb County has traveled around the world looking for jobs. He's not just looking around here in this local area, they're looking all over the world to draw companies into those areas. That's what I would do. I would want to go up to Atlanta and meet with the mayor and say, hey, how do we join you to attract businesses into our area? We want to compete with Gwinnett County and Cobb County and all of the north side of Atlanta by drawing companies in here. So those are the things that we want to do. All of those things are the things that we want to begin to do to attract people here. We want to let them say, when they look at Henry County, that this is the place that I want to live. My 4th plan has to do with public safety. Now, many people believe that if you're a Democrat, you don't believe in law enforcement, you don't believe in making sure where you live is safe and all that. I support the police. I support public safety people, whether they're firemen, policemen, emergency services, all of that. I believe in that. I'm a military person. I spent 5 years in the Air Force, another 7 years in the Navy as a Navy lawyer. I believe in people doing the right thing. One of the things that attracted me to Henry County, and I told this story before, is that when I made a decision to move back to the Atlanta area, I looked at all 10 counties in the Atlanta area. I chose Henry County. It wasn't that I was just born here and happened to be here. I looked at this county and chose to be here. And one of the reasons I chose to be here is because it looked safe to me. It looked like it was a safe place to live, a place where you want your kids to grow up. It looked like it was a place that was expanding. It looked welcome. I want to keep it that way. So I want to support the police. I want to make sure that they get pay increases. I want to make sure that we stop furloughing them. I want to make sure that all of the advantages that we can give to them, that we give it to them. I want this place to stay safe. I do not want this place to become a ghetto. I don't want this place to become some of these other places that attract drugs and all the other stuff. I want my grandkids to come here and I want them to be safe. So I support the police. That's my 4th plan. That's me. So with that, I want to ask you, do you have any questions that you want to ask me about what we plan to do and how we plan to do it and where we plan to go from here?
Brother, I would like to know how could you expose the guys who overspent the money? How could you maybe have a debate or something like that? You know, where you can, I mean, they need to be exposed like to me.
Well, every time we get an opportunity to speak, we get a chance, we try to expose them. And we did have a debate this week, and we've had 2 or 3 other debates. By the way, I want to tell you all this, but I just remembered it. We've been before the 2 police associations and had these kind of debates that you're talking about. And the one organization, the Benevolent Police Association, looked at my 2 opponents, the 2 Republicans, and chose me as their candidate. I'm being endorsed by the Benevolent Police Association. So when they hear the debates and hear what we were concerned about, I got elected as their candidate. So we'll continue to expose this stuff because that's bad. We'll do everything we can. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know scripture says people perish because of lack of knowledge and a vision. When it comes to this, hear the word peace block mentioned. I think the biggest thing, folks is not educated what it is and what it does. So when you go to the poll, they hear what I hear and what I've been hearing and maybe incorrectly heard, but other organizations like NAACP, repealing and folks just don't understand what it is. So
right.
How do you go about educating folks as far as how they intelligently vote?
One of the things we do, and this is what Mr. Crump just handed me, I have a website. It's www.jamescmays.com. And if you would just go to that, there's information on there about the T-Slots, so that you can go on there and read it for yourself, what it intends to do, where the money's going to be spent, things like that. But every time I get a chance to speak, I make it clear to people I support the T-Slots because it's a 1-cent tax. And again, they're going to raise between $6, $7, $8 billion. And we're going to get our share of that money. And there are going to be projects that they're going to do in our community, like 155 and like Bill Gardner Road, 1941, 2342. All of those roads are in that project to be widened and improved. So, but go to my website, and I hope you all will spread that and have your parishioners look at my website as well, jamescmays.com. Yes. You go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things we want to encourage, we're unopposed on the 31st, but we feel very strongly that it's important for us to encourage as many people as we can to go to the polls, because there's been a lot of purging done, and we want to make sure that people know that they're eligible to vote, particularly for the November election. If you go to vote on July 31st and you're denied, that gives you an opportunity to correct that situation, change your address, or any of those issues that would make you ineligible on July 31st. You can correct that for November 6th election, which is really the most important election, and I like that.
I do have a question. How would you tackle not only are the furloughs many of the police officers, but as you're looking at the deficit of the budget of the county, you're looking at how they now start reducing county staff. As far as laying them off, their furlough as they move through that process.
What I've heard, and I don't have exposure to all of their budget, but I'm told there is emergency funding that is available to the county that they reserve somewhere for emergencies. I would consider having the furlough policeman as an emergency, and I would dip into that emergency fund right now, draw that money. Some of the things they need to consider is forcing them to begin to sell off some of those assets that are just sitting there. They have land that's just sitting there. They have buildings that are just sitting there. This golf course and all these other things that they bought, they ought to start considering forcing them to have these forced sales, I believe, and beginning to pay that $10 million deficit down. I think that would also alleviate some of that problem.
So let's give our candidate a big hand.